So the inside spins, right? And then do you hear it? You hear that shit being cut?
Ballads 1 by Joji was released in 2018 and is his second album. Now, I'm a fan of Joji. I like some of his songs, especially with his recent album, but I do feel like a lot of his earlier stuff where there is one big problem, and that is Joji is very inconsistent with his music. You know, all of his albums have a lot of decent songs, mid songs, they're okay, they're good at best, but then every album has like at least one or two songs that is really good. That is like a 10 out of 10, like a perfect song, but it's just very inconsistent with the way he makes music, and this album is no exception of that. Now, I listened to this album for the first time a while ago, and I didn't like it that much. I thought it was fine. You know, it was nothing special. I really thought the only memorable song was Slow Dancing in the Dark. And re-listening to it, I still feel the same. I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's his best. And I still think Slow Dancing in the Dark is the best song. Now, I did add one other song to my playlist. I'll talk about the tracks later. But I think this album is very average for Joji. I don't think it's his worst, but it's definitely not his best.
Well, if I was an animal, what kind of animal would I be? Realistically, like a seagull.
This album has 12 songs, and like I said earlier, it is very inconsistent. You have songs like Slow Dancing in the Dark, Yeah Right, Wanted You, Test Drive, which are really good. I think are probably some of the best on this album. But then you also have songs like Attention, Why Am I Still in LA, and No Fun, Can't Get Over You, which are just very average songs. They're not like horrible, but I really wouldn't listen to them again over any other Joji song. One other thing is that this album is called Ballads 1, which makes you think it's going to be a ballads album. It's going to be like Slow Dancing in the Dark, like all of that, but it's not really. I think some of it, now I could be wrong here, but to me it felt like some of this was trying to be this like lo-fi songs with like some elements of like trap into it, it's very weird. For me, it didn't quite work. A lot of the production, it seems amateurish, but I think that was on purpose. Like with songs like Attention, like it sounds really like low quality, but I'm pretty sure that was on purpose, because then you have other songs which sound a much higher quality. So I think it's just a weird choice. I wasn't a big fan of it. I can understand why you would like it. You know, for me, it just wasn't hidden. And of course, Slow Dancing in the Dark is the best song off this album. It is one of my favorite Joji songs, and I love that song. It's really good. I remember I had it on my playlist for like years, but I had to take it off because I was like, you know, this song, it's too sad. It's gotta go off. But I recently added it back, so I love it. But I will say, Typing in the Chat by Cryptic 587 is much better. It's a better parody. Go watch it. But I was surprised on how many songs that I did like about this album on my most recent listen. I just remember this album like being like very disappointing. I didn't really enjoy it. I thought all the songs were not that good. I really only liked Slow Dancing in the Dark, but after re-listening to it, I did enjoy it a bit more. It's not my favorite Joji album, like I said, but there are some songs that I did like. Yeah Right, I added to my playlist. Wanted You, I thought was good. Test Drive, I thought was good. I'll See You in 40, I thought was good. And so, you know, it was a little bit more of a surprise. I liked it more, but it's still, you know, it's very inconsistent. Now, the features, there are some. There's Trippie Redd, which is probably the most notable one. The others are some random people that I've never heard, and I'm pretty sure are just like DJs or producers, like how he has a song with Diplo, and they don't have a verse, they just kind of make the beat for the song. But Trippie Redd, I remember seeing Trippie Redd on the track list, and I was like, oh, Trippie Redd's on this album. I was excited for that song, but it was a very lackluster performance. The verse was very average, nothing special, and I think he probably made the song worse. No hate to Trippie. I'm not a huge Trippie fan, but I don't hate him either. I think Joji works so much better by himself, and he doesn't really need features to help him because he's in such a weird genre, like this lo-fi, slow ballads music, which Trippie Redd is a rapper, and so it doesn't really mesh well.
This is like when you want to sit with someone at the desk, but you don't like really fuck with them that much. So like it's like, all right, like you stay that way.
Like I said before, this album is very inconsistent. It has some amazing songs, but it also has some fairly mid songs on it. This is not my favorite Joji album, and while it pains me to say this, as big of a Joji fan I am, I'm going to give Ballads 1 a 6 out of 10. And yes, that hurts me to give it such a low rating, at least for me. All the other ones I've given like 7s, 8s, 9s. And so this is like the second 6 I've given. And, I'm just not a big fan of Ballads. I'll probably listen to it again some other time in the future and hopefully improve my ranking. But I just think it is very inconsistent. And Joji doesn't really show his true potential on this album like he does in Nectar or Smithereens, which I know not a lot of people like. People don't think it's his best. I love that album. I think it's much better than this because I just think this album is extremely inconsistent with the tracks and the production and the lyrics, and all of that stuff combined makes it a fairly average album. While it wasn't a painful listen, it is quite short. It's still not that good, and I wish it was better. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Tell me in the comments some albums that you want me to review, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.